I want to discuss like one of the most important things that like why I was not making money with e-commerce when I started it, and how did I get to finally 300,000 a month, and my learnings from it. Just so if you're gonna get into it, at least these are the things that I would know before I started my e-com journey, and I wish I knew about this stuff. And I'm gonna talk about like the most common issues that I faced with before I got to this point, and hopefully you will get something out of it. And if you want to start this business, I think there's endless opportunity for you, but I want you to know this stuff because the market is competitive. However, the market is also very open, and I'll get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is about yourself, okay? That a lot of people don't talk about it, you know? Everyone thinks that business is a knowledge game. For me, business is a reflection of who you are as a person. So, and there are some things, of course, you're not gonna be good at. For example, I'm dyslexic, and I have an ADHD. So I have to be aware of this stuff. When I start any business, I need to know my weakness, I need to know my strengths. And before I started many businesses, and I failed miserably in so many of them, but when I started those businesses back in the days, one of the things that I was consistently doing is I was trying to do things that I'm not good at. And I don't know how to explain it to you this, but if you're like, I'll give you an example, okay? Let's say you want to become a trader, okay? And there's a guy who can sit down 16 hours in his computer and work for 16 hours without leaving his computer. And then you can't even sit down for 4 hours straight to learn something or get interested to learn something because you don't care. You're not doing it for the love of the game. You're not doing it because you have curiosity. You're doing it pure for financial standpoint, okay? There is nothing wrong with that. But I'll add a but in here. If someone loves the game more than you can't win the game. You can't win the game. So what I recommend is what worked for me is that I decided not to play the game of how other people play the game. Like in the game of e-commerce, for example, right now, you really need to know the copy. You need to know your avatar. You need to know who you're selling. You need to get a bit nerdy about things to start it, okay? Me, I don't consider myself a super nerdy person, okay? I like to look for shortcuts and I like to think outside of the box. And I'm good at that. I'm personally good at that. However, when I used to play this game before, I used to play like everybody plays this game. Like test many products or like just like don't think about the who I'm trying to sell. Like I wouldn't really think about the most important part of the parts. Even though I'm not good at it, that doesn't mean that I can't play the game differently. For me, like I find the product that really sells for me and works for me. By the way, I only tested literally like 3 products in total, and maybe 2, like 2, let's say 2. The third one, it's just a half-assed done. The 2 proper products that I tested, and the second one picked up. And the reason it picked up because I knew who I wanted to sell, because I knew the audience, because my mom had this issue before, okay? And the second thing is that I try to look for a solution in a different way. For example, everyone is selling supplements right now, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But it's also super saturated. So either I was gonna sell something that offers a different type of solution to the market, okay? In a different way. Like let's say you're selling, like I don't know if you know about this stuff, but let's say you're selling a problem for neuropathy, people who have neuropathy issues, you know. You can sell a supplement for neuropathy, for example, or you can sell a massager for neuropathy, or you can sell a digital product for neuropathy. But what I'm trying to say is that there's so many solutions you can offer, and you need to know what are the solutions that people haven't offered to that market that you can come and offer that is going to be easy sell for you. Like I try to think in this way, you know what I mean? And in this game I'm playing with, a lot of people copy paste each other or try to kind of like do what other people are doing. Like they don't try to use their creativity and try to understand the market. It's just like, sorry, they know the market, but I don't think they're really trying to come up with something new. It's always the same thing in repeat. So I find that one of my biggest strengths was figuring out different solutions to the market and being curious about who I'm selling. I was lucky enough that my family had an example of the problems that I wanted to solve, so I got inspiration from that. And it doesn't need to be applied to only ecom. It can apply any business, by the way. But if you don't try to find out your own strengths and figure out what you're good at, you're not gonna make it. It doesn't matter whatever business it is. That's why I have so much respect to content creators, because they try to do new things. They try to push their limits. They try to keep producing content. They try to keep learning new things so they can educate their followers, and they love what they do. You can argue it or not. They love what they do. Even streamers, they love what they do. That's why they're successful. But in ecom, I find there is not that much people making big numbers. You can argue, but it is the truth. However, people who are making the big numbers, they're making huge numbers. Okay? So the market is open. Even I know the competition is very high. The reason competition is very high, because I think anybody can do e-commerce. But not a lot of people can look at themselves and be honest with themselves and figure out what they're good at and what they're not. If you want to do ecom, for example, and you're not good at XYZ reasons, you can look for a partner and be honest with the other person you want to be partnered up with. Hey, like, I'm good at this stuff and I think you can be good at this stuff. Like, let's partner up. Like, I have a business partner. But anyways, like, I really do believe if you're watching this video, for sure, you're kind of going through challenges. You can't make it, and you're stuck at where you are. But for me, it was due to not being honest with myself, not being clear with myself, and keep paddling down in the wrong direction. But that changed when I started being honest with myself and try to think of the problems that I want to solve and how I can split the task between my business partner and personally me, And by the way, English is not even my first language, bro. Okay? I'm dyslexic. I have full-on ADHD. I'm not on medication at all. And I'm here telling you that you can make it. You can make it. It's just that I wish someone told me this, is that I'm going to conclude, but figure out your own strengths. You can learn e-commerce from everywhere in YouTube and XYZ. Try to figure out what you're good at in the game. Don't give up, by the way. Don't give up, but try to figure out what you're good at. It doesn't have to be ecom. Whatever thing you're curious at, try to find your edge. We all have an edge somewhere, man. I'm telling you, God created us in a way that we all have an edge somewhere. You need to double down on that, And you can really do that once you figure yourself out. And you can do that by writing, man. I like to write personally, even though I'm not a best writer. But I realize I can take notes when I'm talking. So I have basically a Whisper Flow app that is like an AI that literally I talk to, so I can gather what I'm thinking. It's a lot better, and I can put it on cloud and then kind of ask myself question back and forth, and then that helps me to solve the problems. Whatever business you're trying to do, start from the beginning and look at yourself, because business, as I said, is a reflection of who you are. Once you figure out your own strength and weakness, the game becomes a lot easier. The second part is gonna be the volume of action, okay? Once you figure that out, the second point is the volume of action. That's pretty much it. And the third one, the last one, is the feedback loop. But you're not there yet, so I wouldn't really worry about that part. The market is competitive, but it's very open. You can do it. Each learnings I have about the journey, I'll try to share it. but these are the couple takes that I have, and I hope you get something out of it, and I wish you the best on your entrepreneurial journey, and I know you can do it. Don't ever let someone tell you you can't do shit. It's you versus you. You have the capacity, you have the edge because of God, and I believe in you, and I'm sure you believe in yourself, and if you don't, then believe in yourself, because you are born as a human. God gave you a brain, and you can make it happen. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter if you're dyslexic like me, doesn't matter if you have a crazy ADHD, doesn't matter if you can't sit down on the chair and do 16 hours of work. Find your edge. I don't care. Find your edge. Double down on that. That's it.